to myself again. But it's the only way you're ever gonna learn. You look back and it's all in the past. I'm dwelling on the thoughts I cannot say to you. If I don't say the words, then maybe it's not true. And it feels alright when they come and say to you.
Good evening, welcome along to NUFC Matters. It is Monday, the start of a new week. The Fans Forum is here to talk through the last 7 days at Newcastle United and what's making the news. And as always, got a panel from different parts of the country and different parts of the world to talk about Newcastle United. And big shout out to Darren, who's a regular on this show usually. I know he's going through a bit of a bad time personally at the moment and having a week off. So Darren, we're all thinking of you, mate. And
heads up, Darren.
And if you need a chat, Darren, give us a shout. Give us a shout, mate.
Absolutely.
You've got our
Any of us give a call.
Yeah.
100%. And here's Vince as well, Lord Vader coming in. There he is.
Okay.
John Von Vader. God, he's another new name. VAR, what is it good for? Nothing. Couldn't get absolutely in there, Vince. Anyway.
No.
All right. I'm going to start, Kevin, and I did mention this in the green room before we started. Tom Dixon has a habit of getting in early with a prediction, I guess, of what we're going to talk about. Newcastle have announced that a designated section holding 1,800 supporters will be installed between the Gallowgate end and the East Stand. What are your thoughts? Well, we have discussed safe standing on the show. There's also going to be an allocated area, I think, in the away end as well, which, you know, is good news for those fans travelling to St James's Park. But again, as somebody who tends to keep out of controversy on Twitter these days and just, you know, watch with interest. There's been a bit of a fallout by, with a few fans complaining about it. But I mean, all in all, you know, the club did the right thing. They put it out there to season ticket holders. Would you like to see safe standing? They got the response back as to, you know, whether people would and whether they think it was a good idea and which area of the ground. The Gallowgate corner, Strawberry Corner, as we call it, was probably the most popular. I think all in all, most of us are happy. And I was discussing with Ian there before we came on air that, you know, predominantly everybody in that section stands anyway. But you are always going to get people who are complaining about things. There'll be somebody in there who has his usual seat. He's been there for years through the Ashley times, or a woman, or whatever. And there's going to be somebody there who isn't happy. And this is the problem you're always going to have, Kevin. But in theory, I think it's a good idea. I'm glad that they've announced it. What's your thoughts on the safe standing now that it's finally been announced?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a great thing for that part of the ground because, like we said in the green room, that's where large portions of fans stand. So it's pretty much a no-brainer. It's an American term that's where they put it. But and from working at the stadium and knowing people that work there, there's an element of it in the away end anyway, in the front part of level 7. It's used sparingly from what I believe. Don't quote me on that, but I believe it's sparing. But so I think they've already trialed it a little bit there. But again, the big phrase for me is you just can't keep everybody happy. I mean, it could be this, it could be the size of the pitch, it could be how the way the lines are cut on what football we use, whatever. But I remember back in the day moving from the Millburn paddock, moving it again, still in that same part of it, but just shifting across the other part of the halfway line. Not that we had a big dispute, whatever. Look, I'm still in the stand. Yes, we're like where we were, but at the same time, I just shifted along. I had a great seat. I had a wall behind us, so I was young and I could stand up, which was fantastic. I had no friends who moved from the East Stand back then into now what was then the Platinum Club, or still is the Platinum Club. So they had issues. They didn't want to move, but then had to pay more money to get into the Platinum Club. So there's always going to be issues, conjecture. There's going to be arguments. There's going to be pulling the eyeballs out if you don't want to move, which I get. I understand. You might be in there for a while. But however, again, when myself and my dad moved from the Millburn towards the Leazes end, I told him when I moved over here to get a seat behind just near George in the 1892 because that's one of the best views in the whole stadium to watch a game of football. And you'll see how football's played properly, essentially, and how players move and things like that. Because I used to work in that part of the ground as well, so I used to stand and watch it as a coach and watch and see. It was fantastic. So, and in a blunt phrase, people might just have to get over it because it's probably going to happen, and just accept what's happening. Yes, have your gripes, have your issues, but you know, if the one safe standing has been, I guess it's been a popular thing across the fan base, and it's been put into season ticket holders who actually would like it or don't like it. Well, there's been a majority who like it, so they have to go with the majority. And unfortunately, you might just have to figure out where you're going to have to sit. You can sit close by it or whatever, or get into the Gallagher or into the East Stand. I mean, for me, just get in the stadium somewhere somehow, depending on, you know, like for say argument George, if he can get up some 17 flights of stairs or whatever, that's not going to be attainable to him. So, you know, can the club figure out who's going to be on the move and give those people who are potentially going to move or want to be in a safe stand and give them that option first to say, where would I like to move? Where can I move, which is going to be accessible to me and for my disability or ability to get around the ground or whatever. So, yeah, I think it's a positive thing. It's a good thing. It's going to, again, cause problems and issues, but it's just been released today. So we'll let the dust settle and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, I think the arguments I've seen on social media have tended to be about singing, and you know, standing is supposedly, you know, creates a better atmosphere. I mean, again, is that the case? You know, a lot of people sing songs sitting in their seats. I'm not sure whether that's whether
I sit on my sofa singing songs, so it doesn't, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter to me. But yeah, I can get that's the emotion of it when you stand up. That's the whole thing. But
with the exception of stand up, if you hate Sunderland, I can only think of that which way there's a necessity to stand. The rest of them, you know, it's one of those things. But yeah, look, it all happens to die hard. He's standing up. Yes. Can we have a laser recliner with a canned fridge section next, please? Great idea, John. Barry, good evening. The standard section is coming in. It's a done deal. You know, there's already railings going in at the ground anyway. And yeah, I mean, what's your take on that?
I think it's a good thing. I really do. It's almost a blast to the past, isn't it? It's sort of it's almost rewinding sort of 15 years when the fans, the majority of them stood. You had your singing, you had the sway that we've mentioned before, Steve, where the fans would sort of, you felt part of a larger group, and it was a unique atmosphere for it to be like that. I mean, obviously, I don't go to a huge amount of games, but the games I have been where you're sitting, I think you've lost a bit of that atmosphere to it.
Yeah,
you don't seem to have it. I mean, yeah, to some extent, being crushed by a group of fans towards the front of the pitch isn't always the most comfortable thing in the world, but you feel part of the Newcastle. I always did. I felt a part of the family when you were there together with however many people that you didn't know, but you were all there for a shared cause. I can see it causing problems because I think it's against the whole thing of the business side of the match. You know, it's almost against that whole industry that's being created around that side of it, because it's more like a hardcore football thing to have your fans standing. So I can see both sides of it. Personally, I think it's a great idea. I think the fans should be given the choice. There will be a lot of people who, like me, go back to the days when that's how you watched a match. You got that atmosphere, you got the feeling from it, rather than feeling like you're sitting in a theatre watching something on stage, which is the way it feels sometimes when you're watching from your seats. But I think the corporates will be worried that there'll be more and more and more outcry for more and more standing areas, which I think would probably affect them. But go for it. I think it's worth a try.
Yeah, I agree. Ian, what's your thoughts on the safe standing which they've announced today?
I think it's mint. If I think there's a dead easy solve. Obviously, you've got to take into consideration, like Kev said, about people who are going to struggle to stand up. But there are areas very, very close where if you offered somebody, you know, a couple of rows across, a younger guy, lad or girl or whatever that wants, you know, do you want to swap seats with these and explain the reason? I don't think anybody would say no, would they? As long as they're able to stand up, I'd rather stand up. If anyone wants to sell the ticket in the corner, I'll deep pockets. No, it's good. It's good, isn't it? I think that they have got to be careful, because I just had a quick look, and it something like 75% voted for it out of the 4,000, and I think there was only 7% against it, and the rest neither here nor there. I think. I'm not. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. But yeah, I can't see, as long as the club are going to look after people who can't stand up and give them as good a seat nearby, so that they'll be as happy as they can be. Then I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think I think a lot of people are disappointed that it doesn't increase the capacity, but it is what it is. And until we can extend on the Gallagher end or the East Stand, and the capacity is going to remain the same. Donald, what's your take on this?
I think it's brilliant. It's a sort of adding a bit of the old into it. I mean, personal experience. I remember my first game I stood, which was at Boothbury Park in Hull. And that's something that I can still remember, 30 odd years later. And it adds something when you're standing at obviously a football match. It brings a bit of tradition to football supporting, etc. Yeah, obviously it's got to be managed correctly, because sad thing is not everybody's able to stand up due to health problems, etc. But hey, if you're fit and healthy, it shouldn't be an issue. In fact, I wouldn't mind it, because I sit on my ass all day on my job. So what do you call it? A bit of standing up will be good for the circulation, So yeah, bring it on.
Yep.
Bring it.
Bill Burnett says, I don't like standing as I can never see the pitch. I go to games to watch the football, not the back of someone's head. Kenny says, safe standing is great for fans who want to stand, but me being part of an aging generation, I just can't do it. I had to stand at Wembley, and by the end of the game, my back was done in. BT says, would the tickets be cheaper for standing as it was in the 1970s? I doubt it, mate. I doubt it. Vince, I mean, look, another point that was made by Oliver B. He says, I'm a member. He says, and still didn't get a ticket for Man U or Spurs. I'd be happy to stand anywhere in the cathedral. Please don't moan when some of us can't get a ticket. So, I mean, there's lots of different views, lots of different viewpoints coming in. Some people would, of course, walk over hot coals to get in at the minute. But standing, it's coming in. It's going to be coming in for next season. What's your thoughts?
It's fine for me. I'm not like it says. Yeah, it's a bit of a take back on where it used to be. There will be there's 50-odd thousand people go. There's some people out of that percentage will want to stand, won't want to stand. Like you say, there's people who can't. Like definitely me. My knees are gone. There's no way I can keep standing. No way I wouldn't do it. But there's plenty of room. Like you say, as long as it's managed correctly, get the right people in there. People want to stand. Like you say, as long as they do the options. Now we've got swaps and that. I cannot see a problem with it. Like you say, you've got 50-odd people. There's different people like different things. There is ones who want to stand. There's people who want to sit, and that's fine. Like as long as, like it says, it's managed properly and all that, I just can't see an issue. No, like just bring a little bit more atmosphere back and stuff like that as well. Like it's like it says, we've got so many different variants. It's like this, people are going to want like this. So yeah, I think it's good to have the option. It's good to have the option back. I think like this. Get the people so that nobody's looking at someone's back of the head. Get them in the standing. You know what I mean? Get them with the way eye. Like, it's everybody's got their choice. And like you say, people are going to whinge. There's always going to be a whinge with something. But like I say, as long as it's managed correctly, you've got the right people in there. Yes, Alan, definitely. I could have definitely said you, Alan. Definitely.
I'm ready for me, right? Jim says, I'm ready for it. I'm coming.
Okay, Alan. I mean, we haven't had a game this weekend. It can't be that. So over to you, Alan, with your rant of the week.
Well, basically, lads, majority of the lads here go along with it. But you've got to remember why safe seating was introduced after Hillsborough, the safety aspect. And like Ben says, as long as it's managed, I think we should do trials for it. I'm neither here nor there. If it's safety and it goes without fault for the first 4 or 5 years, I'm all for choice. So I'm not against it that way. But you've got to remember, lads, the younger lads, it was meant for safety with a Taylor report after Hillsborough. But for atmosphere, it'll improve it dramatically, without a doubt. After a person that's been standing like 20-odd years in the back of the east corner of the Gallagher, and anyway, because I'm at the back with the rest of the Cracker Jacks shouting away, it hasn't bothered me anyway. But to be honest, I've still got my doubts about it, Steve. Atmosphere-wise and choice-wise, yes. But you've always got to remember it was introduced. Seating was all for safety.
I'd say it's probably safer, Alan, anyway, because to be honest, when you look over to that corner, there's more than one supporter per seat there anyway. And with the railings in front of people and this allocated seat with the railing, you probably actually be cut out because people, you know, I'm going to be honest, if I didn't have Tommy, I'd be walking around there and getting in there as well, you know. But people do sort of go to that area, and then it's more dangerous without the rails than it is with. So I'd probably say the safety is going to be improved, if anything.
Right. I know you've persuaded us to a large extent.
What about the atmosphere? What about the atmosphere, Alan? No, is it a better atmosphere when people are standing?
Oh, without a doubt, Steve. Without a doubt. Obviously, you're younger than me, Steve, but the 70s atmosphere was fantastic. Nottingham Forest 4-3, best atmosphere I've ever been in. When we beat them 4-3 at St James's, standing without a doubt is atmosphere-wise is far better. It's like Barry said, you're part of a family, the swaying and to and fro. And when Keegan's debut against Queen's Park Rangers, another game that was absolutely fantastic. Atmosphere, you cannot beat standing, in my opinion, anyway. But
I've got to be honest. I've got to be honest. I mean, I think that was more of a generational thing. I think the 70s and the 80s were of a certain. There were a certain time period. I don't think it's the same now. I beg to differ, but I'll be very surprised if we see 1,800 people singing for 90 minutes, like we did back in the old days. Even in the days of Keegan, Waddle, and Beardsley in the 80s, where the Gallagher used to sway backwards and forwards, like the Leesers probably did in the 60s. I genuinely don't think we will hear that Strawberry Corner singing for 90 minutes. I will bow if it does happen, but. The arguments that I've seen online today suggest that that's what's going to happen and that they're going to be singing constantly and it's going to be like an away end. And if it is, fantastic, it may well generate an atmosphere which we've never experienced for a long time at St James's Park. Because
Barcelona was the exception, Steve. Barcelona to him was the exception to the rule.
Yeah. On its day, Newcastle's ground can be a cauldron and can help win a point or win a game or whatever, But 9 times out of 10, like most football stadiums, I feel the atmosphere can be quiet, can be dull, and the one song that away fans sing, we sing it when we go on our travels. Is this a library? And we have that chucked at ourselves. Every game by the away fans, and I know it's just a song that away fans sing. It's part of the song list, but it is because there's lulls in the crowd. So maybe this will be a good thing. Maybe we'll see. There will be people who are unhappy sitting in that particular part of the unhappy with standing in that part of the ground. Will want to move, and then you'll have that option of people wanting to be able to move into it. Because I dare say there's people who are up in the Leesers or wherever, they'll be stuck in one part of the ground who will have the option of moving over. So, for me, I think it's a great idea. If it helps improve an already half decent atmosphere, then great, good for us. And I think it'll be good for the club. Rachel says the issues around the standing back in the Hillsborough days were the supporters imprisoned by the fencing around the pitch, which is a very good point. And says, my first match was in the Gallagher in 1989. It was an amazing experience, but too crowded, more like rag de boot. But now it'll be regulated, and rightly so. Sparky D says, surely a safe standing area is safer than standing in the seated area. Kenny just points out that the clue is in the name, which is of course safe standing, which is a good point. Andrew agrees with Alan. Though he says very valid point, Alan. That's probably why they'll only stick 1-to-1. It'll be great with the railings, and he also wants to know if there'll be a compulsory wee in the pocket in the new standing area.
That'll really make them feel at home.
I bet you that takes you back, does it, George?
Certainly does. Yeah. Forgive me, but my gorgeous friend Shelley's just come with some shopping for us, and
yes, I muted it as soon in case there's anything.
Shelley, even Newcastle United goes behind Shelley, I'm afraid, because she's lovely. She's lovely. She's a girl that my wife trained and has never forgotten Marjorie. has been looking after me really
Good
well.
stuff.
So, you know,
That's-
that
Well,
was
well,
Shelley.
you haven't missed your turn on the old safe standing.
Well, that's
Steve,
good. Well,
Steve Middleman says
yeah.
they'll have to put their phones down first, Steve, which is true of the modern generation.
Well, which is
Was you
interesting.
sitting or standing, George?
Sorry.
Was you sitting or standing?
Well, who, Shelley? No. Well, look, if I was younger and the way I used to be, you see, what I find interesting is people saying, well, it'll be like the old days. It would be like the old days. In the old days, you were like that, up against one another, and that's how it swayed. And I used to like that as much as anybody when I had to go back into the Gallagher corner once my playing days are over. But you know, they're all, there's as much space as you would have for your seat. So you're not going to even be up against each other. You're going to be standing in like a pen. I mean, the only benefit for me with safe standing at the moment is I'd be able to sit in my seat and I'd be able to bang the rail with my stick to make a noise. Apart from that, there's no, see, somebody like me, there's no way I could stand for more than a couple of minutes. Now, that doesn't say I want to stop other people doing it. I don't mind at all. If that's what people want to do, there's got to be some choice. Yeah. And the only thing I'd say about what the owners have done is I think they might have gone off a bit half-cocked with this one. They could have waited and thought about it a bit longer so they could answer some of the questions before they started to get bombarded with them. Because looking on Twitter today, I could see the makings of another Save Our Seat campaign. No, which would be a bloody disaster. I mean, I remember, Steve's right, I remember that as well. And the number of letters and things that were written to me, and I wrote to other people about that, and it was horrendous. I did have one embarrassing moment, and it's interesting to talk about this when Shelley's just been, because she's chairman in the North Tyneside Manchester Street bench, and I was having this online and written argument in the newspapers with a couple of blokes from my area, and about the my stand was simple. If people were promised something and it was taken away, which is what John Hall did, then that's not right. It can't be right. It lost to a manager. I mean, that's why Kevin Keegan left with. And if he felt like that about it, the other people should entitled to feel about it. Now, I got into that argument, and then one Monday morning I went to court, and the first case up was somebody who was done for drunken driving, and it was one of the blokes I was arguing with on safe seating. So I had to stand down from the bench, obviously. but it involves a lot of passion for people who want to do that. And as I say, I don't want to deprive people of having that opportunity, not at all. I think the easy win was the away end, because most of the away people stand all the time anyway, and I would have just done the whole lot of the away end straight away without any bother. Because and the odd time, times when I've gone away, places like Everton and other places, you end up as an away fan standing anyway, because that's what everybody does. In fact, at Everton, old stand at Everton, I thought we were going to go head over tip on the pitch at one stage. It was so rough. But as I say, I'm happy for people to have a choice. The only thing I'd say is I'd wish the owners had held fire just a little bit to test some of the arguments before they're going to get swamped with them. And if you've read any of it on Twitter today, Steve says that there's World War III breaking out on Twitter at the moment, and not necessary. There's a conversation to be had, in my view, and even for people like me. Mind, I'd be looking to lose the seat I've got. I'd be hanging on the back with two hands. They'd have to prise me fingernails off to get us away, because this is Kevin said at the beginning. I love my seat for a football point of view, apart from anything else. But I do think that there is a conversation to be had. And some debates about how you cope with people who don't want to move, but I I must say, I'd disabuse people who think that it's going to be like the old days. It isn't going to be like the old days at all, because you're hardly going to be touching, never mind crushed in together, swaying about like that. But if that's what people want to do, that's what people want to do. And I think that's choice, isn't it? And the one thing our new owners have tried to do is to give us choice and an input into what's happening. As I say, on this one, I think that they may have shot off a bit too quick and could have rehearsed some of the arguments before they went as far as they have. But we end, as I say, they could all be safe standing now, as far as I'm concerned, because they stand anyway. If you look up at that corner where they are, they're all standing up anyway. None of them sitting down. So no, bring it on. Let those that want to stand. But please have some thought about catering for people who don't want it, so who don't want to do it in their seat, and find a way of giving them an equivalent. Because as I say, the previous occasion with the Platinum Club, people had paid money and had been made promises, and those promises were broken by John Hall. And as I say, it even lost to a manager in the end. It lost to Kevin Keegan. So we don't want any of that rubbish again. No save our seat campaign. But it'll have to be handled very carefully, and people be given a genuine alternative to what they're being offered. But from a point of view of safety and all the rest of it, I mean, I have to say that from the Hillsborough thing, which is where it all came from, I mean, I knew all the people on that panel. Judge Peter Taylor was from up here, and I sat with him in the Crown Court occasionally when I was assigned as a magistrate to the Crown Court, and I got to know Peter quite well. And the professor who was on was a materials professor from my university, who I knew very well, and so on. So it's a very deep-seated one, and it feels a bit personal as well to me. But I'm happy that people have got a choice. If that's what they want to do, then the owners are doing their best to give people a choice. But they need to be careful about looking after the people who don't want to be amongst it.
Yeah, they've got to be inclusive, not exclusive, and listen to all the fans. Difficult, but honestly, if you're getting stuck into these debates on Twitter, try and be sensible. I sit and watch them these days, and I just wonder, people have either got too much time on their hands or just like going on there for an argument, because it's a time to be happy as a Newcastle fan. It's not time to have division and fighting and arguments and honestly,
some of them not be season ticket holders either, Steve?
Well, this is a good question.
Will not be.
But the other thing was that I haven't watched some of it today because I've got very little else to do with myself, with the magnifying glass in front of my eyes, trying to read it all. The names and the arguments, I knew, and I knew where they were coming from, and that tells me a story. That means that they're gathering ammunition like they did before for other things, and that depresses me. That, as Steve says, that's the negative side of our fan base, and we need to be keeping the happy side of it going at the moment. We don't want any of that, and
so much to be positive about, George.
Absolutely,
and
there is.
Knock the negativity on the head. We can all have opinions, etc. That's fine, but it's the way you put them across. Okay, halfway through the show, going to play the ads. Big thanks to all our sponsors. Thanks to Skips and Bins. Telephone 0800 25 45 25 3. Email inquiries at skipsandbins.com. Website skipsandbins.com. Easy contract free and pay as you go waste collection. Thanks to Mr. Vicky's Sauces, handmade in Cumbria. And you can find them at mrvickies.co.uk. Email info@mrvickies.co.uk and place an order by phoning 01768 210 102. Thanks to Frui Vita Getaways. Book your holidays or short breaks in the UK or around the world with them. Let them find your happy place. ABTA and ATOL registered. You can contact them by emailing fruivitagetaways@gmail.com. Call or text 0792 842 7895 and join their Facebook group at Frui Vita Getaways. Thanks to Media Arts for all the technical help and videos that they do. And thanks to qtechshop.co.uk, the makers of pool tables and snooker tables in Wallsend, Newcastle. If you want to join the channel, click join, and you can see the various rates that you can pay to help support us. If you want to join by subscribing, hit the subscribe button. That is free. Hit the thumb up under the video to help the algorithm, and click share to other social media platforms. If you do subscribe, we do give you a free car sticker. Just email John at nufcmatters.com and he will post you one out. If you want to join the cult, which is a one-off payment of £25, where you get a scarf, a pen, a cup, and entry into the monthly draw, then go to nufcmatters.com and look for the cult membership, or put your phone over this smart code and it will take you straight there. We are available as well as a podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Podbean, and the rest. And we do support the food bank on this channel. So if you want to make a virtual donation from anywhere in the world, go to nufcfansfoodbank.co.uk and put your money into the match day bucket. We've got some events coming up. First off in April, April the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th and 11th. Peter Beardsley Soccer School is back for ages 6 to 16 years. Go to peterbeardsley.soccerschool.com for more information. An evening with John Anderson at the Time House Surf Cafe, Tuesday the 18th of April. Book your tickets direct from the venue. An evening with Frank Clark and John Gibson 2 nights later, Thursday the 20th of April at the Irish Centre. Tickets from nufcmatters.com. An evening with Nobby Solano at Laurels in Whitley Bay is May the 11th. So contact the venue direct if you want to go to that event. And we've got our NUFC Matters end of season party, which is the 27th of May at 7 o'clock. Tickets are a tenner from nufcmatters.com. An evening with Rob Lee at Louis Liquor Store, 1st of June, and tickets direct from the venue. And an evening with Rob Lee, Lee Clark and John Beresford, Friday the 2nd of June at the Grand Hotel Gosforth, which is in aid of the Healing Tour charity. And you can get your tickets direct from them at the healingtour.org.uk website. Just click events. A little bit later in the year, an evening with Gavin Peacock, July the 10th. Tickets from nufcmatters.com for that one. And if you like your boxing, a night of champions featuring Frank Bruno, Ricky Hatton, Nigel Benn and Joe Calzaghe. Tickets for that one from goldstarpromotions.com. Tickets for John Anderson on sale as well at the Surf Cafe, 18th of April. Go direct to their website to get tickets for that. The Shearer Ball, we've got a new raffle up and running. 150 tickets, £1 a ticket. Go to nufcmatters.com to win a signed Alan Shearer Ball. And don't forget as well, the Great British Fake Off takes place on Sunday, the 30th of April. Some wonderful tribute bands. You've got the Arctic Monkeys and you've got the Queen. You've got a Beatles tribute band. Sam Fender, ABBA, the list goes on. 5,000 people can attend, 20 bands, 11 hours, 3 stages, one huge day, and it is on the same day as Newcastle United take on Southampton at St James's Park. So make a day of it. Why don't you? Tickets are £20 and you can get them direct from their website. So well worth going on there. And we are going to have some tickets to give away for that this week. Don't forget as well, the Bruno t-shirt, Bruno signed shirt, is up for grabs from the Football Prizes website. I checked on the website there before and they've got about 65 tickets left. Ticket cost $3.95. That finishes on Thursday. Okay, yes, John Von Vader's now got his hair on.
He's gone.
Yeah,
He's gone.
I just got a gun,
blonde.
Steve.
You've definitely gone.
Yeah.
You've definitely gone. I don't know whether it's gone blonde or gone nuts. One of the two, mate. Absolutely brilliant. John Spence makes a good point. He says Twitter doesn't represent the majority of people. Most are not on it, and I think that's another thing that we do have to remember, mate. You are 100% right. Tom Dixon asks, Kev, question: with Conte getting sacked, is that a worry for us for the race for the top 4? Is it a good thing or a bad thing that Conte is gone?
I don't really care, to be honest, because it's Tottenham Hotspur. There's a phrase over here. There's another group called Men in Blazers. It's a live TV show beyond after the games, and they call it That's So Spursy. So that's what Tottenham do. So just let them crack on with it, to be perfectly honest. I know the assistants had a good record, whilst Conte's had surgeries and illnesses and whatever. He's had a decent record, but at the same time, I don't really care what goes on at Tottenham Hotspur. I really care what's going on one position below, and from obviously from history standpoint, they'll implode. They're imploding. The wheels have literally fallen off. So I'm not worried about it at all. I mean, we've got more things to worry about. We've got Man United this coming Sunday, so we got a bigger worry about that. Then we've got 3 tricky away games. Then they'll roll up to St James's Park. That's when we'll worry about Tottenham. So they can crack on with what they're doing. I mean, they've spending money left and right just to sack managers, and I mean, in the billions in debt. So, I mean, I don't know how that works out in terms of financial fair play, considering Everton's scenarios and things like that, and how they're going to balance them books. But, it always comes back to the Daniel Levy thing for 20 years, and everybody's had a gripe with him, but he's still got the job, hasn't he? So, look, it is what it is. Great historical football club, but at the same time, I'm more worried about black and white, to be perfectly honest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Conte is gone. I don't think it affects us, Barry. We just need to look after ourselves.
I think you guys hit it on the head yesterday when you saw the professionals talking about it. I totally agree with Kev. As a fan, don't care what happens with Tottenham. As a potential team who may be interested in Mr. Kane, and if the new Tottenham manager comes in, doesn't like him and thinks he might get some money for him, the only thing is then Kane's going to be on what, 200 grand plus a week wages, which then breaks our wage structure into little pieces because then everybody else will want it again. But as Kevin once said, I would love it if we got him.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think Harry Kane would be fantastic, and to see him break Shearer's record at Newcastle would be fantastic. I mean, Stu came out with that yesterday, Ian. That certainly would put Spurs on a slide if they lost that talisman up front.
Yeah, they might see whoever comes in might see it as an option to change it up there because there's something wrong there, isn't there? Whether I think it's probably Levy that's the bad apple in the whole thing, but I'm not like Kev, I'm not that bothered about him, but I would love Kane to come in. Love it, yeah. So I think it would be a bad thing for them. It'd be a great thing for us or whoever gets him because he's a top striker. But I've got a feeling that whether it's us or anybody, I've just got a feeling he's going to go now because is he 30 now, isn't he? 29, 30. So he's not going to move, is he? And he's never going to win anything. So I reckon he's away.
Why did the move to? Why does anybody know why the move to Man City fell through?
Did Levy?
Was it injury record?
Yeah. It was. They couldn't please Levy. Yeah.
He wanted 120 million. I think they offered in the end 100 or 105 or something.
And he prevaricated so long that Pep Guardiola and the Manchester City team just said to sod off. Forget about it.
So there is a possibility.
We'll be here when Harry Kane's not.
Yeah, there is a possibility he's seen his contract out then, and he's disappointed in the fact he didn't get the big money move to Man City, which would have seen him, win trophies. Maybe that's the reason he's not playing to the same levels. But again, Conte has played him in a different position this season as well. Hasn't got the best out of him, so it's an interesting one. Donald, I'll come to you on the whole Spurs situation and Harry Kane. Is Conte leaving a good thing or a bad thing for Newcastle? And would you take Harry Kane?
Well, in terms of the managerial situation, nothing changes because it's his backroom staff taking over, isn't it? So they're just going to. It's business as usual on that respect. There ain't going to be no new ideas coming in because they're just going to be playing the same way, same ideas, etc. And to be honest, I'm having a good laugh at it because they were one of the ones who opposed our takeover. And all I see is all this, Spurs having the problems and all the FFP problems. I'm thinking karma is giving you a big fat kick up the backside, people. So we've just got to concentrate on ourselves. Our European qualification is in our hands. We've just got to take each game as it comes. And if we do that,
spot on.
Who cares about Spurs? That's all I'll say.
Yeah, who cares about Spurs? You're nodding away there, Vince.
Yeah. Like Steve, like said, that's it. Don't care about any other teams. It's all about Newcastle and the glorious future, just like my hair. Like says
Quite fancy with that wig on, actually, Vinny.
right, wait there.
John says you're guaranteed 20 plus goals with Harry Kane, though, and he is right.
And
and still a couple of good
that's what I was going to say, Steve. That's what we're looking to do. We're looking to improve in areas, and we want that 20 to 30 goal a season striker. That's what we're missing at the moment. In like Kane, like says, look, that's what he does every season out, 20 plus goals. That's what he does. He does that, like says, and if we can build a side, like who can get him, deliver him, get him the ball, like says, we need that, like says. So yeah, no, like says, I mean, I heard like says I watched professionals later on, listening to Stu talking all that about the phone call he got and stuff like that. And it's great, and this is what we are now. We are in for these level of players now. This is where we're going. This is what we want to do. We want to push. Like says, we can get the Champions League, we'll get the money, and this is what we're doing. This is where we're going. Like says, we're not talking about little. Like says, I've heard talk about McTominay and all that, and like, why? Like says, he's not the level. You're looking at Bruno, you're looking at Isaac. They're the level now. What we're going for, and that's what we will be going for in the summer. But if we can get Kane, and like it says, I want him. If he's going to break the record, he's going to have to do it in the black and white, because that's the only one I want to see. That's it. Yeah, but no, like definitely, like says, Tottenham. I'd like says, who cares? Like says, they're all like says they'll all be drinking that beer that only comes in a bottle. Like says, like says, who cares? Who cares?
Yeah, Alan, the Harry Kane conversation that we had yesterday with Stu was fairly genuine. He did have a phone call from somebody who he puts in high regard and who hasn't messed him around in the past. I mean, it's all rumours at the minute, and it wasn't that we're doing a deal for him. It was that our people have been speaking to their people.
The only Kane we'll see is that Michael Kane yaks out to get caught. That's the only Kane we'll ever see up here.
Blowing the bloody doors off.
Exactly, John. It's just like the rest of the panel, lads. I go on their blogs as well and have comments, and I see what they think. And then entitlement, we've gone 15 years without winning a trophy, and I'm screaming at the screen thinking, try 54. The entitlement with. In their lifetime, Steve, in my lifetime, I've seen Spurs win the FA Cup twice in a row, the League Cup a couple of times, and they think they're hard done by. We haven't won a trophy in 20 years. And like Kevin said, you think we're bad on Ashley, they're just as bad about Levy and Lewis, who run the show. They're saying the lack of ambition. And it was good because I was on last night when Conte got sacked, and they're actually praising us up to the hilt, saying the fans, the club, and the management are all on side here. And they're really worried about we're getting top four. They really are. And so a long may continue. The meltdown in the Spurs fan base and the management. And like the lads have said, couldn't care less. Long may continue as far as I'm concerned. It's just the entitlement when you go on these podcasts, lads, of especially the top six, how entitled they feel.
Yeah.
We should be the only ones to win the league, and we should be the only ones to win the European Cup. And how dare you spoil the party? Whether it be us or anybody else, like Everton, Aston Villa, or Brighton, even in the future, it's like, the feel as though it's beneath them that, Tottenham in fourth. And you know what it is, lads? They're 7 points better off than they were this time last year. And they're still groaning about it. They're 7 points better off than last year. Wow. Man United are 2 points better off than last year. And Ten Hag's a genius. Yes, he's won the Carabao Cup off us, but they're only 2 points better off than they were this time last year. So, Eddie Howe, we're 20-odd points better off. What does that make Eddie Howe from last season? So, getting back to the point, lads, because I tend to rob it, is Tottenham. Couldn't care less, and long may it to continue because it's going to benefit Newcastle United.
We should buy Kane and loan him out to a League Two side so we can't beat Shearer's record, says Dan Druff. Good name, Dan Druff. I'm sure that's
one thing, Stephen, amongst the lads and outside, if Kane does break Shearer's record, and I've said it on the Tottenham podcast, he will be the best England striker of all time, mind.
Yeah.
If he does break the record.
I saw a few interesting debates, Alan, on Twitter today where people were listing the teams that Kane has scored these England goals for, England goal again, completely discrediting them and hat-tricks and penalties and all this. But I'm afraid.
A great player.
I'm afraid that I hate the fact that all records stop with the Premier League, and I hate to disagree with you, Alan, but I'm going to the best striker ever, and I never saw him play live. I did see him every Saturday afternoon on TV though, was Jimmy Greaves, and the record books prove it. Jimmy Greaves is the greatest striker of all time in this country. And bugger the record book starting in the Premier League days. It starts when football kicked off in England, and he is still the best. That's it for me. Modern day strikers, if he surpasses Shearer, of course he is, but he'll still be second. He'll still be second to Jimmy Greaves. He's got a long way to go to catch him, and I don't think anybody will. And he was playing with a pig's bladder back in the day, wasn't he, George?
He certainly was.
Yeah,
certainly was. Yeah, and indeed, it was Jimmy Greaves was used as a means of getting me to sign schoolboy forms for Newcastle United. Believe it or not. Because when Newcastle won the Northern Intermediate League up here, and Chelsea won the equivalent down there, they had a challenge match between Newcastle and Chelsea, 2 legs, and Greaves was in their youth team then. And when the team went down to London to see for the return game, they packed the bus with kids that they were interested in signing. And touch wood, I was lucky enough to be one of them and went to London for that match and watched Jimmy Greaves and his mates, Peter Osgood, Benetti, the goalkeeper. They were all in that youth team, and all went on to play top level football. But I agree with Steve that Jimmy Greaves takes some beating in that sense, and I even have to bow down and say he's a better goal scorer than my favourite Jackie Milburn. Different kind of player, but Jimmy Greaves.
I always felt sorry for Greavesy as well. The fact that he was the one who missed out on 66 and winning the World Cup. And that was only one sub at the time, of course.
Well, that was appalling. That was Ramsey. I'm afraid. I think that was a personal thing with Ramsey. I really do.
Just as a little history lesson here for everybody, because you can, obviously people can go away and Google it. But Jimmy Greaves, 357 goals, and he is number one. Goals, of course, for Chelsea, Tottenham, and West Ham. In second place isn't Alan Shearer; it's Dixie Dean, who was at Everton. 310 goals for him. Gordon Hodgson is in third place with 287, Leeds United, Liverpool and Aston Villa. And then in fourth place is Alan Shearer on 283 goals. Of course, Southampton, Newcastle, Blackburn. Fifth place, just for those of you who are interested in that Lofthouse, he's on 253. And Hughie Gallagher is in sixth place on 246. He pips Ian Rush by 13 goals, who is in seventh. George Campsell, a Middlesbrough player, is eighth with 232. And George Brown is on 223 goals in ninth. And completing the top 10, David Hurd, who played for Manchester United, Arsenal, and Stoke. He's on 223. You have to go back to 16th to find Harry Kane, who is currently on 204 goals. And he's equal 16th at the minute with Arthur Chandler, who played for Leicester, and Bobby Gurney, who played for Sunderland. He's level on there. And if he gets his next target now is 4 more goals to go level with Wayne Rooney, who's 15th at the minute. So there you go. Jeff Hurst, of course, the man who scored a hat-trick in a World Cup final, down in 12th place, but fascinating. So George, just getting your views on the old on Tottenham Hotspur. Conte is gone now. We spoke Harry Kane yesterday, but Conte is gone. Should that bother Newcastle? Will it have a bounce with the same people there?
I agree with the lads that what Tottenham do is up to Tottenham. The important thing from our point of view is they're in turmoil. You don't need to be a genius to see what's happening there. There's something organically wrong in that football club. It just isn't working right. And then get rid of Conte, the lad that went to France, Pochettino, the fell out with him. Because he was
Mourinho,
yeah, that's right. Whoever they get, there seems to be something organically wrong inside that club. It just doesn't work. And that's great for us. Yeah, carry on, lads. Same vein. That'll do Newcastle United. We don't care. As to the Kane issue with us, I'm just delighted. As I said yesterday, I'm just delighted that we're quoted in the same breath as Kane. Yeah. That would even be considered as going for somebody like Harry Kane. Like all the other players that are being supposedly offered to us at the moment. That's fantastic. I mean, it's a long time since we've been in that particular position where people were quoting every top player in the world is going to go to Newcastle United. That I know it's pie in the sky, but isn't it good? Isn't it nice to be in that position, to be regarded in that way? So, but as regards Tottenham, no, carry on, lads. Just keep doing what you're doing. That'll do Newcastle United.
And that's because it's really our club, Steve, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it is.
George, what you've just mentioned, that's why every fan should be delighted.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, George, I've already got your opinion on this, so I'm going to get the rest of the panel. The latest strip was leaked this week, lads. I'm sure you saw it over the weekend, and there it is, a nice little green number, green and white. Again, I've got to be honest, I like it. Because despite the fact it's Castore again, I like that, Kevin. Do you like it? I mean, I just think it's basic, it's simple, but it's it's another top I can see myself going out and about in.
Yeah, I've got a bit of spelks on the old backside a little bit. It's not bad for St. Patrick's Day, but I mean, not a fan.
You don't like it?
I think not that I don't like it. I'll probably get it, but at the same time, I'm more the flat, not flashy. I mean, I've got this on, the 90s England shirt on, which is a bit of a knockoff, but never mind.
They're the best ones, mate, I'm afraid.
Of course you are, they're cheaper. But I wouldn't have went, obviously, with the Saudi Arabia thing. I understand. I completely understand the marketing, the PR, the whole, that process. I get it, but maybe not for me. You look at, I think there could be something more within the shirt. I guess that's just me.
This isn't a definite shirt. I mean, this is a leak.
Oh, no, absolutely. But I just would like to see all in green playing on a green pitch. That's going to be interesting. We'll probably never pass 10 yards to each other.
It gives us an Alex Ferguson type excuse, doesn't it?
Oh, now don't give me that. I mean, it is what.
Yeah.
No. But
see the grey strip.
At least we're not. At least hey, that's dour. At least we'll be in green. At least we will be full of envy of it. Everybody be envious of us. But no, but. Again, look. I understand the business models. I understand the PR, the shirt sales, the Saudi Arabian colours. I would just like to maybe see a little bit more white in there, just a little different. But again, that's just a personal preference. Look, I'll probably get it. I mean, but at the same time, it's not my first choice as a plain green. I would like something a little bit more modern, if you will.
Okay, Barry, you're sitting there in the dark blue top. I've got one of those. I like it as well.
Yes.
And again, I went to one of those top fitters that Kevin's talking about because they are cheaper to get them from. But yeah, I mean, do you like the green top?
It's been said before, hasn't it? It's a goalie shirt.
I said that yesterday.
I love the white shirts with the green bits to it that we've got now. I think that's a gorgeous shirt. I agree with Kev. I think if it had maybe white pinstripes, like the grey shirt that we used to have, the grey and black one, it could be green with little thin white pinstripes.
Well, even in the Barry, sorry, real quick, even the white on that shirt you've got on, even just some white up the shoulder on the sleeve or something like that in white or something, just a little bit modern. That I'm not a shirt designer, but sorry, go ahead, my bad.
It may
No,
well
I
have
think
it may well have one of those, like, you know, those prints, or, you know, like the white one has the time, you know, like the
Yeah. Okay.
the
You
print
never
within
know.
it. You just don't know. I mean, as I say, this is like it might just be a prototype. That, I mean, these things get leaked for a reason, don't they, Barry? I guess.
Yeah, I think that. I mean, they're coming up with some great ideas. If there's any truth in these, and I loved the one the other day, Steve, that came out where it was the Adidas mock-up one.
Yeah,
Which looked a bit like the
Yeah.
Grandad collar. I thought that was an amazing looking shirt as well.
yeah.
I
Okay.
would probably still go with Kev. I'd probably still go and buy the green one. That's it.
Yeah, I would. Ian, are you? I mean, you know, you like your football tops. Would you go out and get that one? Basic, like I know what people are saying.
To be honest, I prefer the white with green rather than the green with white. The current one, but and it needs Adidas on it. That's because I'm a big Adidas fan. Like, I wear a lot of Adidas. It needs Adidas, should I say, on it. But yeah, it's okay. We've just got to accept that we're going to have a green and white strip, I think, going forward as the third or second strip for a while now, and that's if it's going to bring us money in, then really and truthfully, I'm not too bothered. It's okay.
Okay, Vince, would you buy that?
No, I'll buy it. Yeah, of course. Like, but like for our players playing it, I mean, the only thing I could think would be good for if we could, so we can sneak a couple of extra players lying down on the pitch, and then they just pop up. Don't see that maneuver coming. But I think it's just missing a picture. Yasser Al-Rumayyan just going like that. Really get to them, like really wind them up. But like it's no, like so that's it. Like it's not for me. It's probably like a full top. Like if it comes out, yeah, I'll buy it. But yeah, I don't think we're a plain top. I think it needs like Kev said, a bit more modern and all that bit, different all that. But yeah, like I'll buy it. Of course I will. Like yeah.
Yeah, it's still got Fun 88 on PDK. I can see you asking the question there, but as I say, it's a mock-up. They have to put something on the front because there will be a sponsor. It could be Aston Martin, could be, you know, Saudi Airlines. Who knows? Alan, thoughts on the top?
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, I'll buy it for when I'm decorating the house out, and the splash marks will be like Kevin's top.
A splash of white on there. See, there you go. Yeah,
splash marks all over.
Splash it all over, Alan. You're sure?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, Steve, to me, a top's a top. It looks nice enough. Basically, you know, it's only the media will make it out to be a storm that Newcastle fans will be up in arms, or the rest of the country will be, because it's Saudi, you know, like related. But I'm fine with it. It looks nice enough, you know. I just like you got white tops on. So I'm sorry.
Well, that's it. That's fair enough. Black and white for you. And yeah, George, just remind us, you know, did you like that top?
Well, I would buy one, yes. I mean, I like the white one that we've got already. In fact, that's the first strip I bought for years because there was so much furore and anger being thrown in our direction. Well, that's just the sort of thing to make me react. So I went straight out and bought one. so do you. You know, this is my team. My team, and I'll wear my colours. You can think what you like. The other thing about that is, of course, is that while all this furore goes on and we'll get called again about sports watching and all the rest of it, all of those that are shouting are the same people that are desperately shouting to get Manchester United sponsorship from Qatar through the door.
Yeah.
And they're, you know, if you talk about human rights, the progress Saudi Arabia has made in the last 10 years, if anybody even looks at how they've changed. I mean, our football club is run by a bloody woman. You know, and they're supposed to be dead against women doing anything, driving, for God's sake, until about 10 years ago. So, no, I wish they would just get a bit credit for how far they've advanced. And I think they are using Newcastle United as a vehicle to do what they want to do. Well, so be it, and we're getting the benefit of it. Smashing. And I'll certainly wear it, yeah.
Great stuff. I'm back at 10 o'clock in the morning with Ross Gregory. Wednesday, we'll see me and the lads doing Geordie's here. Geordie's there. Me and Supermac and Gibbo together on Thursday, 6 o'clock, and Friday, as usual, 5 o'clock till 7 o'clock. The Amigos, thanks tonight to Kevin, to Barry, to Ian, to John, John Von Vader, Alan Thompson, to George, the one-eyed naval architect.
2-1 on Sunday, Chief. 2-1 on Sunday.
2-1 on Sunday.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, that's good, Alan. I'm going to take that. We'll take that as an early prediction. 2-1.
7-0.
What's 7-0?
Well, I want 80.
Barry, got a prediction?
2-0.
Kevin?
I'll go with Alan, but I'll have a think about it because
yeah, I know you've got.
I might change it. We'll see. I'll be
All
there
right.
Wednesday.
And Vince, we won't see you till after that game. Give us a prediction. 4-0.
4-0.
Cool.
Come on.
Fantastic. Full of confidence. Okay, guys. Take care. See you soon.
Cheers.
See you, lads.
Have a good one.